Right, good morning, students. It's about 9 o'clock. Let us please get going then. Right, guys, I welcome you today to lecture 7, which is the third one of our online lectures. Just before we start with the content, just a few things, please. Please remember, guys, if you are joining just now, please make sure that your camera is switched off and that you have mute your mics. Secondly, please indicate your student number in the chat list, guys. Just add your student number so that we have got a record of who has attended the session. Then the next thing that I must inform you guys about is that today we are working on the notes for lecture 7. This notes has been emailed to you. If you haven't got the notes, you have not received the notes, Bronwyn has in the chat, you will see that a link has been added there where you can access these notes. And also on Teams, guys, if you go to files, you will see that the notes it will be uploaded on there. That brings us to the next point. If you click onto Teams, next to files, there's an icon for the evaluation form. And at the end of this session, guys, we will appreciate it if you can complete the evaluation form and send that back to us so that we can see how we can further assist you with your studies. The video recordings of all these online lectures, as you guys may know, and some of you guys has accessed it already, is under your My UNISA. Under the Western Cape portal, you will see that the videos are there. However, we are still negotiating to get it for you guys free of charge because some of the service providers is still charging you guys a fee for watching the videos, and you will not be able to get that money back. So just give us like a week or say by next week, Monday, we would have sorted out because UNISA they are in negotiations with your service providers so that you guys can get the video material free of charge. But okay, guys, just a reminder once again at the end of the lecture, please just complete the evaluation form so that we can see how we can improve on the system that we currently have. Right, guys, let us get going with the work. In today's lecture, we are discussing bank reconciliations and the importance of bank reconciliations and how to draw up a bank reconciliation statement. Okay. I have set two sets of notes to you. We will first work through the PowerPoint presentation, and thereafter we will turn our attention to the notes. Right, guys, let us take a look at bank reconciliations and bank reconciliation statements. The purpose of drawing up a bank reconciliation statement is to ensure that the balance of the bank account in the books of the business is the same as the balance on the bank statement. Now, guys, as you may know, from the business point of view, the business knows how much money they've got in their bank account because they will go to their bank account in the ledger, and based on that, they will be able to see how much money the business has got in the bank account. However, the bank, now when I speak about the bank now, I'm referring to the financial institution, ABSA or Nedbank or whatever. They also got a record of all the transactions of the business, because whenever you make a deposit, it will be credited to your account. Whenever you are making a payment or an EFT from your bank, it will be a debit onto your bank account now with the bank. So the bank is aware of how much money you have got in your banking account. But at the end of the month, guys, the two balances are not the same, because the bank has got certain entries that they have recorded onto your bank statement. For instance, they have subtracted bank charges, or sometimes we, the business, have recorded some entries that is not yet recorded in the books of the bank, and therefore the two balances will not be the same. Now, with bank reconciliations, we attempt now to spot the differences between the two bank balances, so that we can reconcile the business's bank balance with the bank balance of the bank. When I speak about the bank now, I'm referring to the financial institution. So that is as far as that first part is going there. Let us continue. So that is the purpose of our bank reconciliation statement. So now when we go into the process of the bank reconciliation and the process that we follow, we say that there are two phases. Firstly, we compare the business records with what is on the bank statement, and we update the records of the business. We update the records of the business with the information that appears only on the bank statement, that is not yet in the business's records. And those entries will be made, we call that now, we will have to make supplementary entries or additional entries in our journals. Secondly, the reconciliation process, we take a look at entries that is on the bank statement. Okay. We take a look at entries that is on the bank statement, but that is, I'm sorry, I was just distracted quickly with that noise there. Secondly, we take a look at entries that is not on the bank statement. So that will be entries that is in our records that is not yet on the bank statement. And those items must be recorded in the bank reconciliation statement. Okay. So that is our reconciliation process. We are going to compare our records with the bank's records to see what are the differences. Now, the next thing that that you guys must understand is that when we speak about the bank balance, now the bank balance from the business perspective, that is the balance of our bank account in the ledger. And when we speak about the ledger, your bank account can either have a debit balance or a credit balance. If your bank account has got a debit balance, bank is then classified as an asset with a debit balance. A debit balance is deemed to be a favorable balance. And if your bank account in the ledger has got a credit balance, it is unfavorable. Okay, the bank is then classified as a liability. However, from the bank's perspective, it works the other way around. If you have got money in the bank, your bank statement balance will be credit. So a credit balance on your bank statement is a favorable balance, because a bank statement comes from the bank. And if you have got money in the bank sees you as a creditor. That is why a favorable balance is indicated as a credit balance, and a debit balance, that is an unfavorable balance. Important that you understand the two differences there, guys, from the bank, from the business perspective, and from the bank's perspective. Right. So when you do a question on bank reconciliations, guys, you need to prepare a cash receipts journal. You need to prepare a cash payments journal. You open up a bank account in the ledger, just a normal T account, and you prepare a bank reconciliation statement. So now you've got all the entries, the cash receipts journal, the cash payments journal, the bank account, and the bank reconciliation statement. You open up all of those items. And now we are going to start recording the items into these journals, bank account, or the bank reconciliation statement. You take now under your step number 2, you go to your bank statement and you take the balance at the end of the month on the bank statement and you record that now into the bank reconciliation statement. Now remember the balance on the bank statement. This is coming from the bank. This is the bank's perspective. If your balance is credit, it is favorable. And if your bank statement shows a debit balance, it is unfavorable. Important to understand this, guys, because sometimes in a question, they will tell you credit balance as per bank statement. Or sometimes they don't tell you debit or credit, they will tell you favorable or unfavorable. So you must know what is a favorable balance and what is an unfavorable balance. But in your step number 2, after you opened up the journals, you take the balance on the bank statement and you record that in your bank reconciliation statement. In your next step, now we compare the cash receipts journal with the credit side of the bank statement. We take a look at the business's receipts and compare that now with the bank statement. The reason why we do that is that we want to see what items is in our records that is not yet on the bank statement and what items appears on the bank statement that is not yet in the cash receipts journal. So if you come across amounts in the cash receipts journal that is not yet on the bank statement, you enter that now into your bank reconciliation statement. So we are speaking about amounts now that is in your cash receipts journal. It's already recorded in your cash receipts journal, but it is not yet on the bank statement. So you have now recorded that items in your cash receipts journal. The bank is not aware of that. So in your bank reconciliation statement, you are now going to have an entry, credit outstanding deposit. It's an outstanding deposit because we received the money. It is recorded in the cash receipts journal. We have made the deposit at the bank, but it is not yet reflected on the bank statement. The reason for that is the bank statement perhaps only operates from the 25th to the 26th of a particular month. Our cash receipts journal is for the entire month from the 1st to the 30th. So if we take a deposit on the 29th perhaps, and we make that deposit on the bank statement will not reflect that deposit. That deposit will only appear on the following month's bank statement because the bank statement works normally from the 25th to the 26th of the next month. So a deposit on the 29th will not appear on this month's bank statement. If you come across anything like that, you will have to make an entry in your bank reconciliation statement, and there you are going to write credit outstanding deposit. Right. If you now come across any amounts that is on the bank statement that is not in the cash receipts journal, so these are receipts now which the bank has received. It appears on the bank statement on the credit side, but it is not yet recorded in our cash receipts journal. We will now make these additional entries now in the cash receipts journal. Examples of these journals will be the following, or of these transactions will be the following. Sometimes we will get a direct deposit for rent or payments from the clients. debtors, trade receivables, paying their accounts. They didn't come to the business to pay their outstanding amounts. They deposit it directly into the bank account of the business, which means that we haven't received that money at the business. So the business has got no record of that. It's not in the cash receipts journal, but it will appear on the bank statement. So we must now take that amount and enter it now in the cash receipts journal. Another example will be interest on fixed deposit or interest on the current account, interest on our account that we've got in the bank. The bank is not going to come pay us the amount of money. All that the bank will do is they will put the interest onto our bank statement. And we will have to record this now in our cash receipts journal. We will now have to make an additional entry, a supplementary entry in our cash receipts journal. Now in step number 4, guys, we are still preparing. We are still comparing to see what items is in our records that is not on the bank's records and what items appears on the bank statement that is not yet in our records. Now in step number 4, we compare now the cash payments journal with the debit side of the bank statement. Okay. We want to see now what items appears in our cash payments journal that is not on the bank statement and items that appears on the bank statement that is not yet in our cash payments journal. If you come across any amounts in the cash payments journal that is not yet on the bank statement, we must now enter that now in your bank reconciliation statement. And in your bank reconciliation statement, you are going to write there debit outstanding checks. You indicate the check numbers and the amount for each check separately. The reason why those checks are outstanding, guys, those checks are outstanding because the business has issued the checks already, recorded it in the cash payments journal, but the people who received the checks, they haven't deposited it as yet into their own accounts. Therefore, the bank has got no record of those transactions. So if you come across any of those items in your bank reconciliation statement, you will just write there debit outstanding checks. You indicate the check numbers and the amount for each check separately. If you come across any amounts on the bank statement that is not in the cash payments journal, you enter this now in the cash payments journal. These are entries that appears on the bank statement, but it is not in our records. So we must now record this in the cash payments journal. Examples of this will include the following. You will have bank charges. Now, guys, sometimes they don't call it bank charges. It may be all the other small amounts that they may have, like the cost of a checkbook, a cash deposit fee, okay? The cost of a deposit book. Sometimes it's called an admin fee or a service fee or a tax levy. You add all of that up and you call that bank charges. Interest on overdraft is a separate entry. So now remember, the bank can charge you interest on overdraft and they can charge you bank charges. Interest on overdraft, you treat that separately. Everything else, whether it's service fee or deposit fee or whatever, you include with bank charges. But interest on overdraft is a separate entry. Then we may have debit orders. Debit orders, for instance, sometimes the bank pay insurance or there's loan repayments, and those entries must now be entered in your cash payments journal. Just to go back, what is a debit order? Remember, with a debit order is where you instructed the bank to make payment on your behalf. So the bank is making payments. These payments will appear on the bank statement. We haven't issued checks for those payments. That is why the entries will not appear in the cash payments journal. However, it is payments. That is why we must now update our cash payments journal with these additional entries. Another example that you can get that must now appear in your cash payments journal is a dishonored check, also referred to as a RD check. RD means refer to drawer. In common language, we say this is the check that bounced. Now remember, if a debtor paid us an amount of money and he paid us per check, in good faith, we received the check and we recorded it in the cash receipts journal. However, if the bank now informs us that that check is dishonored, that check now bounced, we must cancel the entry in the cash receipts journal with an entry in the cash payments journal. That is why dishonored checks appears now in your cash payments journal. Okay, so guys, we are now done with our comparison. So we have now looked at items now that appears on the bank statement that is not in the cash payments journal, and we must now record this now in our cash payments journal. Now there are a few other things that we need to consider. Firstly, guys, errors. Sometimes you get errors on the bank statement where the bank has made an error. And if you come across an error on the bank statement, you rectify that now in your bank reconciliation statement. Now, sometimes you will get an incorrect deposit. Somebody else has deposited money onto your banking account. Okay? It is not your money. You rectify this now with an entry in your bank reconciliation statement. And in your bank reconciliation statement, you are going to write there, debit incorrect deposit. It can also happen, guys, that somebody else's check appears onto your bank statement. If somebody else's check appears onto your bank statement, it is not your check. You will rectify this in the bank reconciliation statement, and your entry is going to be credit incorrect check. So you will put that on the credit side of your bank reconciliation statement, and under your details, you will write credit incorrect check. Then we can also get errors in your journals. And if you come across any errors in your journals, your cash receipts journal or your cash payments journal is wrong, there's an error, you rectify that in the journals. So if you recorded an amount in the cash payments journal is too much. Say now, or as an example, the amount in the cash payments journal, you have recorded a check for 900 Rand. But the check was actually only for 700 Rand. Now you have recorded 200 Rand too much in your cash payments journal. To rectify that now, you will have an entry in the cash receipts journal now for the 200 Rand. You record the difference in the cash receipts journal. But say now you wrote out a check for 600 Rand. But in your cash payments journal, in error, you only recorded 300 Rand. But the check is actually worth 600 Rand, and you only recorded 300 Rand. Then you must make another entry in your cash payments journal. So you will make another entry for the difference. The difference now is 300 Rand. You must now make another entry for 300 Rand in your cash payments journal. Okay. That is how you will deal with errors in your journals. The next item that you must consider, guys, is a stale check. Now remember, a stale check is a check that has been issued to somebody. The business issued a check. And remember, the lifespan on that check is normally 6 months. However, if that check has not been cashed within the 6 month period, that check will become an invalid check. We call that a stale check, a check that is older than 6 months. If you come across any of these stale checks, you must cancel the check. And you cancel the check now with an entry in your cash receipts journal. Okay, guys? Those are the other items that you must consider. Now, in your next step, you have now made all your supplementary entries now. You must now prepare the bank account in the ledger. You start with the opening balance on the first day of the month. Remember now, your bank balance can be debit or credit. You have now completed the supplementary entries in your cash receipts journal, and you take that amount now to the debit side of the bank account, and you record that now as your total receipts. You have also completed the supplementary entries in your cash payments journal. You add up that amount now. That is your new total payments, and you post that to the credit side of the bank account. You balance that, the ledger account now, and that is now the bank balance according to the business's records. That balance now, according to the business's records, you enter that amount now into your bank reconciliation statement. Remember, your bank balance can now be a debit balance or it can be a credit balance. If it is a debit balance, under your details, you will write debit balance as per bank account, and you record the amount on the debit side of your reconciliation statement. If your bank account has got a credit balance, you record it on the credit side of your bank reconciliation statement, the amount, and under details you will write there credit balance as per bank account. Now your bank reconciliation statement has got debit amounts and credit amounts. You add up those amounts, guys. Add up the debit side. You add up the credit side. The two amounts should balance. The debit side should be equal to the credit side. However, guys, if it is not the same, just leave it like that and you move on to the next question. You don't get extra marks to get it to balance. And don't waste your time in the exam to try to make it to balance. Okay? We get some students that change the amounts and so that it can balance, but there's no marks to get it to balance. So just leave it as it is, guys, and you move on to the next question. Okay, guys, that is my explanation to you guys on bank reconciliations. We are now going to turn to a question, guys, and we are now going to do the question, guys, on bank reconciliations. In your notes now, on page 1, in your notes, page 1 in your notes, guys. On page 1 in your notes now, it is a question that is called question 3, guys. On that page, you will see the following information was taken from the accounting records of LR Stores on the 30th for the month of March 2001, and there is a bank statement given to you. Okay, bank statement, you can see there are debits, there are credits, and then there's a balance. Then they gave you a cash receipts journal for the month of March, and they gave you a cash payments journal for the month of March. There's 5 additional information entries. And under your required, they ask you, prepare the cash receipts journal and the cash payments journal. prepare the bank account in the ledger, and then they ask you to do a bank reconciliation statement. So guys, we are now going to take a look at this question over here now. Okay, I just need to get something up here for you guys. Right, we take a look at, guys, what would be your approach now to the question. So once again, guys, like all accounting questions, you normally go to the end of the question so that you can see what is required. In this question, they want you to complete the supplementary entries in the journals, the bank account in the ledger, and the bank reconciliation statement. So you need to prepare these items in your answer book, and then we are going to follow the steps with the bank reconciliations as I indicated to you in the PowerPoint presentation. So you will prepare a cash receipts journal of LR stores for the month of March 2001. Just a detail column, a column for details, and a column for the amount. In your cash payments journal, also just a column for your details and a column for the amount. You will prepare a bank account in the ledger, just a T account, and you will prepare your bank reconciliation statement. A bank reconciliation statement has got a debit and a credit side. Okay. So remember now to prepare the journals. This I have indicated in that PowerPoint presentation as your step number 1. Step number 2, guys. In step number 2, I say, take the balance on your bank statement on the last day of the month, and you record that now into your bank reconciliation statement. So we go to our bank reconciliation statement, and you are going to indicate there.
Good morning, sir. Are you not supposed to be showing the document right now?
There was a question now.
I say we still seeing your face, sir. Do you not want to show us the document?
Yes, you are supposed to see a document.
You're seeing your face, sir.
No, you mustn't see my face. What do you see now? Do you still see my face?
No, sir. Okay, now we can see the document.
Can you see the document now? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. Thank you. Right. So in your bank reconciliation statement, you are now going to write credit balance as per bank statement. And if you go to your question now, the balance of your bank statement, go to your bank statement at the end of the month, on the last day of the month, your bank statement has got a balance of 181,665. Right, guys, that is step number 2. In step number 2, you go to your bank statement, look for the balance on the last day of the month, and you record that now into your bank reconciliation statement. Under your details, you indicate there credit balance as per bank statement. In the next step, guys, we are now going to compare the cash receipts journal with the bank statement to see what items appears in the cash receipts journal that is not on the bank statement and items that appears on the bank statement that is not yet on the cash receipts journal. So guys, please just work with me on this one. So in your notes on page 1, we are comparing the cash receipts journal. So you are making your ticks in the cash receipts journal now. We are only working with a bank amount. In your cash receipts journal, the first amount of 21,000, that 21,000 appears on your bank statement, so you tick that amount. The next amount of 21,000 also appears on the bank statement, so you tick that amount. The next amount of 15,500 appears on the bank statement, so you tick off that amount, it is there. The 30,000 is on the bank statement, you tick that amount. 15,000 appears on the bank statement. 40,000 is on the bank statement. 26,500 is on the bank statement, but the 5 does not appear, so you circle that 5,000. On your bank statement, there is a 5,000. On the bank statement, there is a 5,000. But just take a look at that 5,000 on the bank statement. You will see that the date of that is the 28th of March. Whereas in your cash receipts journal, it is dated the 31st of March. So those are two separate entries. So in your cash receipts journal, the bank has received all the money except the 5,000, the last amount there. So you just circle that amount, and we are now going to do that one. We are going to record that difference there. Right. Now, guys, you make your ticks now onto the bank statement now. So in the bank statement, guys, we are comparing the credit side. The 21,000 you tick off, we've seen that. The 21,000, we have seen that there. 15,500 is there. 30,000 Rand is there. 15,000 Rand is there. 40,000 Rand is there. But the 5,000 Rand, remember, we spoke about this 5,000 Rand already. You circle that 5,000 Rand. That is dated the 28th of March. The next amount of 26,500 is there. You can tick that off. The next amount of 90 Rand is not there. Circle that 90 Rand for me. And the last item there, guys, are 15,000 Rand. It is not on your banks. It is not in your cash receipts journal. So you circle that amount. So guys, what we've done now is that we have compared the cash receipts journal with the credit side of the bank statement. The reason why we are comparing that is that we are looking for items that appears on the bank statement that is not in our records, and we are also looking for items that appears on the bank statement that is not yet in our records. Now, after we have done the comparison in your cash receipts journal, guys, you must have a 5,000 Rand that is circled. On your bank statement, there is a 5,000, a 90, and 15,000 Rand that is circled there. So we are now going to account. We are now going to enter those items now into our answer over there. Right. So, don't want to be there. Okay, guys, just bear with me just for 1 minute. Right. Okay, so you will see now, guys. I hope, can you guys see the answer sheet now?
No.
Or do you still see my face? Can somebody just respond?
Yes, we still see your face. We are still seeing your face.
Right, remember now. Say again.
Sir, we can still see your face.
You can still see my face. Okay.
Yes.
And now?
It's on.
Okay. Right, guys. Can you see the
See
answer
the notes
now?
now.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
Right. So there is an amount of 5,000 Rand that appears only on our records, that is not on your bank reconciliation statement. So you go to your bank reconciliation statement, and in your bank reconciliation statement, you are now going to write credit balance, or we will have now credit our outstanding deposit. And our outstanding deposit is the amount of 5,000 Rand. I'm sorry, guys. Gladys, can you hear me? Can you just please switch off your mic, Gladys? Because we don't want to hear all that children there. Right, guys, let us continue. So I have now entered that outstanding deposit, guys, that was only in our records and not in the bank's records. I have now recorded that into your cash receipts journal. I'm sorry, in your bank reconciliation statement, and the entry there was credit outstanding deposit. Now we're going to go back to our cash receipts journal, and we are going to record the supplementary entries. Your cash receipts journal, guys, you will start your cash receipts journal with the opening total as was given in your cash receipts journal. And your cash receipts journal has started off with an opening total there of 174,000 Rand. Now we are going to make our supplementary entries. Remember, on your bank statement, you have marked 3 items there. The first one is for 5,000. Now go to your additional information under number 2, additional information number 2. They tell you there that the credit entry for 5,000 on the 28th of March in the bank statement was a direct deposit made by a client, Mr. Rose. So Mr. Rose didn't pay us. He went to the bank and deposited the money onto our bank account. It appears on the bank statement, not in our records, and that is why we will now record this now in our records. So in your cash receipts journal, you will now make an entry for Mr. A. Rose, and Mr. Rose has paid us the amount of 5,000 Rand. It's a direct deposit. The customer, the client, went to the bank and deposited the money there. We must now update our records and show the 5,000 Rand in our records. The next amount that we're going to deal with is the 90 Rand. And the 90 Rand is interest which the bank has paid us. So you will record this now as the interest on our current account, or you can just recall it as interest income, and the bank has paid us a 90 Rand interest. For that now, also in your cash receipts journal. The next amount that you will see there, guys, is a 15,000. A 15,000. Go for the information. We are looking for the information on that 15,000. That information, go to your additional information. Additional information number 4. They tell you there that the credit entry on the 31st of March in the bank statement was erroneously credited to LR Stores. It was a deposit made by RL Stores. So the bank has made an error. That falls under the category there, guys, of the errors that I've explained to you. So if there's an error on the bank statement, we need to rectify that now in your reconciliation statement. The bank has incorrectly credited our account. They incorrectly have put somebody else's 15,000 Rand onto our bank account. To rectify that, we will write debit incorrect deposit. That is not our deposit. Somebody else's deposit appears onto our bank statement. To rectify that now, we will write debit incorrect deposit, and that is the amount of 15,000 Rand. Okay, guys. So I'm done with that part now, where I have compared. The cash receipts journal now with the credit side of the bank statement. If there are any items that is not on our cash receipts journal, but that it appears on the bank statement, we will now record that entries now into our cash receipts journal, such as that direct deposit and the interest that the bank has paid. If you come across items that is in our journals, in our cash receipts journal, not yet on the bank statement, you take that to your bank reconciliation statement, and on your bank reconciliation statement, in your bank reconciliation statement, you're going to write there, credit outstanding deposit. Right, I'm going to my next step now, guys, and in my next step, I am now going to compare the cash payments journal with the debit side of the bank statement. Okay. I'm comparing now, guys. Guys, I just want to make sure that you guys are seeing the right one here. I am going to compare now my cash payments journal now with the debit side of my bank statement. So I'm ticking now, guys, in my cash payments journal, and my cash payments journal is on page 2 of your notes. Right, the first amount of 4,500 is there. The next amount of 900 Rand is not there. You circle that 900 Rand. That is for check number 218. It is not on the bank statement. The next amount of 500 Rand for check number 219 is there. The next amount of 6,700 for check number 220 is not there. So you circle that one. The next amount of 40,000 Rand for check number 221 is not there. I'm sorry, it is there. So you tick that one. The next one, an amount of 2,000 Rand for check number 222. That check is there. The next entry in my cash payments journal, guys, is for 500 Rand for check number 223. That is not there. You circle that. The last amount there, guys, the next one is 1,900. That amount is there. But the last amount of 55,000 Rand is not there. You circle that. And that is check number 225. So from my cash payments journal, guys, I have got 4 checks, 4 amounts that is not on my cash payments journal. just to make sure that you've got the right ones. It is check number 218 for 900 Rand, check number 220 for 6,700, check number 223 for 500 Rand, and check number 225 for 55,000 Rand. Okay. I am now comparing my bank statement now, the bank statement. We make our tick now on page 1, the bank statement. We compare that now with my cash payments journal. On my bank statement, on the debit side, the first amount of 4,500 Rand is there. The next amount of 25 Rand is not there. Circle that 25 Rand, and that 25 Rand is for service fees. The next amount of 500 Rand is in the cash payments journal. The 40,000 Rand is in the cash payments journal. The 2,000 Rand is in the cash payments journal. 1,900 is in the cash payments journal. 1,500 Rand is not in my cash payments journal. Circle that. The next amount of 2,100 is not there. You circle that now. And the last amount of 50 Rand is not in my cash payments journal. That is for bank charges. So on your bank statement, on the debit side, you have got 4 items that is circled. Those are the items that were not in my cash payments journal. It is the 25 Rand, the 1,500 Rand, the 2,100 Rand, and the 50 Rand. Okay. I have now identified the items that is in my cash payments journal that is not yet on the bank statement, and the items that is on the bank statement that is not yet into my cash payments journal. Right. The items that appears in the cash payments journal, but it is not yet on the bank statement, we record that now in our bank reconciliation statement. And in your bank reconciliation statement, you are going to write debit your outstanding checks, and remember now, for your outstanding checks, you must indicate the check numbers. Check number 218 was outstanding to the amount of 900 Rand. Check number 220 was also outstanding to the amount of 6,700 Rand. Also in my cash payments journal, I have seen that check number 223 is outstanding with the amount of 500 Rand. And then there was still one outstanding check. The last outstanding check was check number 225. And the amount of check number 225 was 55,000 Rand. So guys, that would be your outstanding checks, amounts that appears in your cash payments journal, but it is not yet been recorded onto our bank statement. We record that now in your reconciliation statement. You will write there debit outstanding checks. You must indicate the check numbers, and you must indicate the amount for each individual check. So now we are going to account, guys, for items that appears on the bank statement, but it is not yet been recorded in our cash payments journal. So we are now going to update our cash payments journal. To update our cash payments journal now, guys, remember now, we will start with the opening total in our cash payments journal. And our payments before reconciliation was 112,000 Rand. Now let us take a look at the items that appears now only on the bank statement. It would be items such as the bank charges. But our bank charges, guys, you will recall that there were two entries for bank charges. It was the 25 Rand and the 50 Rand. We put that together, and that will be the amount of 75 Rand. The next item that we will have there, guys, is 1,500 Rand. Remember, we've circled the 1,500 Rand. The details under your 1,500, they are speaking about a debit order. Now, just go, guys, to your additional information. Under number 3, they tell you that the debit order for 1,500 on the 31st of March in the bank statement was in favor of NDL Insurance for the monthly insurance premium. So this is a debit order. The bank has paid the debit order on our behalf. We haven't recorded this as yet in the cash payments journal, but it is a payment. That is why we will have to record the insurance amount now in our cash payments journal, and the insurance amount is 1,500 Rand. The last item that we have circled on our bank statement was an amount of 2,100 Rand. Information of that 2,100 Rand appears under number 5, additional information. Check number XX900, originally received from Mrs. B. Smith, was deposited during the previous months into the bank account of LR Stores. The check was now dishonored by the bank because of insufficient funds in Mrs. B. Smith's bank account. This is the example, guys, of the bank, the check that is bounced now, a dishonored check. Dishonored check, guys, you record this now in your cash payments journal. Remember now, when Mrs. B. Smith paid us, we received the check. We put it in the cash receipts journal in the previous month. Now the bank informed us that that was an invalid check. So we cancel that check now with an entry in the cash payments journal. So we are going to have now the Mrs. Smith. This is for the dishonored check. And the amount of the dishonored check is the amount of 2,100 Rand. So 2,100 Rand is the dishonored check. So guys, there were 4 items that we have circled, that we have ticked off now on our bank statement that did not appear in the cash payments journal. It was 2 items for bank charges. It was a debit order for insurance, and it was a dishonored check. You record that now in your cash payments journal. Okay. Right, guys. I am done now with all my supplementary entries now. I have done my supplementary entries in both my journals. I've recorded the entries in the bank reconciliation statement that was not on the bank statement. And now I'm going to complete. I am now going to complete the entire process here of my bank reconciliations. Okay. Your next step now, you are going to complete the bank account in the ledger. So go to your cash receipts journal now, guys. And in your cash receipts journal, you add up the total now in your cash receipts journal. And if you add up your total now in your cash receipts journal, you will have 179,090. 179,090. You add up the total now in your cash payments journal. And if you add up the cash payments journal now, 112,000 plus 75 plus the 1,500 plus the 2,100 will give you an amount of 115,675. We are now going to complete the bank account in the ledger. The opening balance in your bank account, guys, go to additional information under number 1. Additional information number 1. The opening balance in the bank account was 45,150. 45,150. That was the opening balance on the first day of the month. The cash receipts journal, when we added that up, it amounted to 179,090. You transfer that to the debit side of your bank account. Transfer that now to the debit side of the bank account. You will record the details there, guys, as total receipts for the month, 179,090. The amount in your cash payments journal after the supplementary entries was 115,675 Rand. You transfer that to the credit side of your bank account, 115,675. Now you must balance your bank account. And if you balance your bank account, you add up your debit side. And if you add up your debit side of your bank account, that is 224,240. Record that also on the credit side, 224,240. You balance this account, the difference between the two sides now, and that will give you a balance of 108,565. So that is your bank account now, guys, which was the next step in the cycle that I've explained to you. You start with your opening balance. Remember that balance can be debit or credit, but in our case now, it's a debit balance. You transfer your receipts from the cash receipts journal to the debit side of the bank account. You transfer your payments to the credit side of your bank account from your cash payments journal, and you calculate the new balance now. And your balance in your bank account is now the amount of 108,565. In your last step now, guys, you take that balance now to your reconciliation statement, and you will write there, debit balance as per bank account, or balance as per bank account. And we have calculated the new balance to be 108,565. Now you add up the debit side in your bank reconciliation statement, and you add up the credit side. If you add up the debit side now, the 15,000 plus the 900 plus the 6,700 plus the 500 plus the 55,000 plus 108,565, it will give you the amount of 186,665. If you add up the credit side, 181,665 plus your 5,000 Rand credit there, guys, and that will give you an amount of 186,665. And you will see there, guys, that your bank reconciliation statement has balance. Debit side was equal to the credit side. So guys, that is the solution then for that question. And remember now, guys, if you are sitting in an exam and the debit side is now not equal to the credit side, don't alter it or look for an entry that is missing or whatever. You don't get any extra marks to have it to if you are balancing the account. So just leave it like that and you move on to the next question. Okay. Right, guys, I'm going to do the next question in your notes now, guys. In your notes, I have got the next question, which is the October-November 2012 paper. October-November 2012. It is a business called Gray Services. And we are now going to attempt to do that question in the remaining time. Right, guys, so just quickly sort out this here. So once again, guys, you start now this question by going to your required. And onto your required, guys, as you can see there, they ask you now, under 1.1, finalize the cash receipts journal and the cash payments journal for 14 marks. Open and complete a bank account for 4 marks and prepare a bank reconciliation statement there, guys, for 8 marks there. Okay. Your approach with all of these questions, guys, on bank reconciliation statements are always the same. You prepare a cash receipts journal. Prepare a cash payments journal. Prepare a bank account in the ledger. And you prepare a bank reconciliation statement with a debit and a credit side. We are now going to start comparing, guys, from the information, guys, they give you a bank reconciliation statement as at the 30th of June, which is for the previous month. They give you a cash receipts journal. They give you a cash payments journal. And on the next page, they give you a bank statement. Right. So your next step is, guys, you must take the balance on the bank statement on the last day of the month. And if you go to your bank statement, you will see that the bank statement has a balance of 906 Rand. And you record that now in your bank reconciliation statement. And in your bank reconciliation statement, you are going to write credit balance as per bank statement. And the credit balance as per your bank statement there, guys, is an amount of 906 Rand. In your next step, we are now going to start comparing now to see what items appears into our records that is not yet on the bank statement, and items on the bank statement that is not yet into our records. So I'm taking my cash payments journal now, guys. Or okay, in the previous exercise, we have started with a cash receipts journal. So let us start there with a cash receipts journal. And I am comparing the cash receipts journal now with the credit side of the bank statement. I'm ticking now in my cash receipts journal. My first amount in the cash receipts journal is 982, and that amount is there. The 2042 is there. 470 Rand is there. 2,202 is there. but the amount of 1152 is not there, so you circle the 1152. I am now onto my bank statement now. The first amount that you see on the bank statement is 254, and the next amount is 1010. So let me quickly just explain to you those two amounts. The 254 Rand is an error that was corrected. Now, if you go to the bank reconciliation statement that was given to you under your additional information, the bank reconciliation statement as at the 30th of June, remember I said that is the bank reconciliation statement of the previous month. Now that bank reconciliation statement, guys, you can see there on the credit side, there was an incorrect entry on the bank statement of 254. Now last month, we have informed the bank that there was an error. So the bank must now rectify that error. And they have now actually rectified it now in this month's bank statement. So no entry is necessary because that 254 will cancel out the 254 of last month's incorrect entry in your bank reconciliation statement for the month of July. The same will apply to the 1010. If you go to your bank reconciliation statement of last month, you will see that there was an outstanding deposit of 1010. Why was that amount outstanding? Because the bank did not receive that money during the month of June. But it appears now on the bank statement for the month of July, meaning that the bank has now received that 1010. So the first two amounts that you see there, 254 and 1010, you can tick that off because that is coming from the previous month's entries. Right, for the current month, guys, the 982 is there. The 290 is not there. And the 290, you can see that is a deposit for rent. The 2042 is there. The 470 is there. And the 2202 is there. So there's only one amount, guys, of 290 that should be marked onto your bank statement. So let us now complete that entries quickly, guys. Your cash receipts journal must start with an opening total. The total in the cash receipts journal, guys, is not given to you. So what you do is go to your cash receipts journal, add up the total, the 982 plus the 2042 plus the 470 plus the 2202 plus the 1152 will give you an opening amount in your cash receipts journal. Your cash receipts journal will start with an opening amount of 6848. 6848, that is the opening amount now in your cash receipts journal. On your bank statement, the only item that will appear there, guys, would be rent income, where the tenant has directly deposited 290 Rand into our bank account. He went to the bank to deposit that money. We must now add that to our receipts now in our cash receipts journal. Onto your bank reconciliation statement, you are going to write there, credit your outstanding deposit. And there's one outstanding deposit now that is not yet being received by the bank, and that is that 1,152 Rand. 1,152 Rand that is the amount that appeared there in our cash receipts journal. Okay, guys, I'm done with comparing those journals now. Right. My next step now, guys, I am going to compare my cash payments journal with the debit side of my bank statement. I'm making the ticks now in my cash payments journal. The first amount that I get in my cash payments journal, guys, is check number 823 for 410 Rand, and that check is there. The next check, guys, is check number 824 for 4,600 Rand. Now go to your bank statement and you will see there, but check number 824 is for 4,400 Rand. So my cash payments journal is speaking about 4,600. My bank statement is saying that check is 4,400. So something is not right there. Go to your additional information now, guys. Take a look at number 3. The correct amount for check number 824 is 4,400. So the amount in your bank statement is correct. 4,400 is correct. However, we recorded 4,600 Rand in our cash payments journal. So that is an error on our cash payments journal. We recorded 4,600 instead of 4,400 Rand. To rectify that, go to your cash receipts journal now. The account was for purchases, or you can just indicate there, correction of error. And that amount must now be for 200 Rand. Remember the difference. We recorded 4,600 in our cash payments journal. To make it right, a 200 Rand in your cash receipts journal will make it then 4,400. 4,600 credit, you need a 200 debit in order to make it 4,400 Rand. Okay, guys? I'm continuing. The next amount of 294 Rand that appears in my cash payments journal. The next amount of 302 Rand for check number 826 is there. The next amount, 376 Rand. 376 Rand for check number 827 is not there. A stop order for 6,000 for 2,000 Rand is there. 84 Rand, guys, for water and electricity check number 828. That is not there, so I'm going to circle that one. 142 Rand for unpaid check, that is there. And check number 829 for 685 Rand is not there, so I'm going to circle that one now. So in my cash payments journal, guys, you must have circled 3 items. 376 Rand for check number 827. 84 Rand for check number 828. And 685 Rand for check number 829. 3 items that we must still account for. We are ticking now the debit side of the bank statement. First amount of 21 Rand, you can circle that. That is a cash deposit fee. Remember, cash deposit fee is part of my bank charges. The next check, check number 821. Now take a look at this check now, guys. 821. Check number 821. Go to the bank reconciliation statement of last month on the 30th of June. you will see that last month there were 3 outstanding checks. Check number 558, check number 813, and check number 821. Now that check was outstanding last month. It appears now on our bank statement, so you can cancel out that one. You can tick off that one. That one has been received. It's an outstanding check of last month, so now it appears now onto our bank statement for this month, so you can tick off that one. The next amount on your bank statement is another 21 Rand. Circle that one. That's for another cash deposit fee, which is bank charges. The next one is 6 Rand. You can circle that one. That's also a cash deposit fee. The 410 and the 4,400, we accounted for that already. Circle the next amount of 40 Rand. That's also a cash deposit fee. Circle the next one, which is a 6 Rand. Circle the next one, 90 Rand, which is a MF. Just come at the bottom there under number 1, additional information. An MF is for management fee, which is also part of bank charges. The 294 and the 302 Rand is all there, and the 2,000 is there. The 75 Rand is not there. Circle that. That is your cash deposit fee, which is also bank charges. The unpaid check for 142 is there. 25 Rand is not there, and 12 Rand is not there. So you must have had the following circled on your bank statement: a 21 Rand, 21 Rand, a 6 Rand, a 40 Rand, a 6 Rand, a 90 Rand, a 75 Rand, a 25 Rand, and a 12 Rand. Okay. Right, guys? Right. In my cash payments journal now, guys, we are now going to account for the items that we have marked off now that is not on our bank statement. Right. So we will indicate this now as debit your outstanding checks. We are going to debit our outstanding checks. It's checks that we have written out that is not yet on the bank statement. And we've got 3 outstanding checks. Check number 827, 828, and 829. But if you go to your additional information, guys, under number 4, check number 828 was mislaid by the municipality, and the bank was notified to stop the payment. No entries were made to record this. So this check, guys, was mislaid by the municipality. We must cancel this check now. This is now not an outstanding check. This check must be cancelled. And we cancel a check now in our cash receipts journal. So in the cash receipts journal, check number 828, that was issued for water and electricity, this check must now be cancelled. Stale check. A stale check we also cancel. If you cancel a check, you will have an entry in your cash receipts journal now, and the value of this check is now 84 Rand. Back to our outstanding checks now. So the outstanding checks now, guys, will be for this month, check number 827. And check number 27 is outstanding to the tune of 376 Rand. Also for this month, guys, the last check, check number 829, is outstanding, and the value of that check is 685 Rand. 685. Okay. But now, guys, importantly, you need to go back now to the bank reconciliation statement of last month. Go back to the bank reconciliation statement of last month, because last month there were some outstanding checks. And if those checks did not appear on the bank statement, those checks will still be outstanding. So last month's bank reconciliation statement, guys, remember, there were 3 outstanding checks. Number 558, number 813, and number 821. Check number 821 for 249 Rand came through the bank this month. So that check is all okay. It came through the bank. It's not outstanding anymore. Now let us turn our attentions to the other 2 checks. Check number 558 is for 410 Rand. But that check, you can see on the check sequence that something is not right with that check, because that is check number 558. And our checks here is 800 and something. So go to your additional information. Under number 2, check number 558 was drawn on the 25th of November in favor of K Tara for repairs to the building. The check is stale and the check must now be cancelled. The check is stale and the check must be cancelled. Because this check must now be cancelled, guys, we will have an entry, a stale check. We cancel a stale check in our cash receipts journal. So you must have an entry in your cash receipts journal now. In your cash receipts journal, this check was issued for repairs. You always indicate the name of the account that must be cancelled, or you can just indicate there for me, this is a stale check. And the stale check amounted to 410 Rand. Stale check, check number 558. But check number 813 is still outstanding. So in this month's bank reconciliation statement, you will still state that check number 813 to the amount of 152 Rand is still outstanding. Remember, guys, a check is valid for 6 months. It can be outstanding for 6 months, right? So last month, guys, just to wrap up here, last month's bank reconciliation statement, you must account for all the outstanding checks of last month. There were 3 outstanding checks. 1 check we cancelled because it was a stale check. 1 check came through the bank, no additional entry, but the other check, check number 813, will still be outstanding. Okay. Right, guys, I am now going to do my entries in my cash payments journal. My cash payments journal will start with an opening total. And the opening total in my cash payments journal, guys, it's not given to me, so I must add up. It's the 410 plus the 4,600 plus the 294 plus the 302 plus the 376 plus the 2,000 Rand plus the 84 Rand plus the 142 Rand plus the 685 will give me a provisional total of 8,893. 8893, guys. That is my provisional total in my cash payments journal. I am now going to record the items that appears on the bank statement that is not in our records. I'm going to record that now. And we will have bank charges there. You will recall that there was a hell of a lot of bank charges that we must account for. There was 21 Rand. Then there was another 21 Rand. Then there was a 6 Rand. Then there was a amount of 40 Rand for a cash deposit fee. Then there was another 6 Rand for a cash deposit fee. Then there was a 90 Rand for a management fee. That's all bank charges. Then there was 75 Rand again for a cash deposit fee, also part of bank charges. Then there was a 25 Rand for check fees. And then there was interest. But remember that the interest on overdraft is a separate account, and the interest on overdraft amounted to 12 Rand. The bank charges, guys, the 21 Rand plus the 21 Rand plus the 6 Rand plus the 40 Rand plus the 6 Rand plus another 90 Rand plus a 75 Rand plus a 25 Rand will give you bank charges of 284 Rand. Right, guys. I have now completed all my supplementary entries. My next step now is to do my bank account in the ledger. And if you do your bank account in the ledger now, guys, we are now firstly need to add up the amounts in my cash receipts journal, 6848 opening total, plus 290, plus the 200 Rand, plus 84 Rand, plus 410, and I get an amount of 7832. So add up that, guys, and you will get 7832. My cash payments journal now, guys. If I add up my cash payments journal now, it is the 8893 plus the 284 plus the 12 Rand, and that will give me a total of 9189. 9189, if you add that up. Okay. We can now complete our bank account in the ledger. We can now complete our bank account in the ledger. Your bank account in the ledger, guys, the opening balance on your bank account, the opening balance in your bank account, you get that now from your bank reconciliation statement. Go to your bank reconciliation statement of last month.